principal cellist of the Seattle Symphony, and I'd like to welcome you and say hello from wherever you are. I see we have some wonderful people in the chat. I see German Faber is in the chat. Hello, German Faber. How's everybody doing today? I'm here to have a wonderful discussion and answer any and all questions cello. I started playing cello when I was 5 years old, and I've been lucky and privileged enough to be able to make it my career here in Seattle, and it's been a wonderful adventure. And I'd actually love to talk about the philosophy of being a cellist rather than maybe some of the technical parts. I did a wonderful cello bellow chat about 6 months ago where we really dived deep into the world of cello playing and sort of the technical aspects, but I'd love to sort of welcome you all in and have a little discussion with everybody about what the world of cello is like today. So that's sort of where I am right now. So hello, and as we welcome more people in from the chat, I have a little iPad here on the side so I can see all of you. Hello, I love you. Hey from Greece. Welcome from Greece, halfway around the world. I wonder what time it is in Greece. Hello. Nothing like the first notes of the day as a cellist. Am I right? Welcoming people in. Hello this morning. I see we have our first question from Snow Dog Mula. I hope I am saying that correctly. And he or she or they ask, what was the application process like for Juilliard? In what challenges did you face when auditioning there? So this is a very good question. I did the Columbia Juilliard program from about 2011 to 2016-ish. I was there for about 5 years. It's a 5-year combined program where you spend 3 years at Columbia University and 2 years at the Juilliard School, where you get a master's from Juilliard and a bachelor's from Columbia. And so my application process was quite interesting in that I had to apply both to Columbia and Juilliard, and basically, I went through the regular application process at Columbia, the whole shebang, SATs, essays, letters of recommendation, that thing, and for Juilliard. And basically what happened is there was a little part on the Juilliard application that asked if you wanted to be eligible for the Columbia Juilliard Exchange Program, which is sort of the official name of this program. And basically, I went in for an audition, and you go to Juilliard. You send in a tape beforehand, and as you get through that round, and they invite you for a live audition at Juilliard. And I remember, I think I played Shostakovich Cello Concerto No. 1. Wonderful piece. How many of you are fans of Shostakovich Cello Concerto No. 1? Let me know in the chat. And after you play your first piece, you basically, the judges, the cello faculty there, the greats that, have been on this wonderful show, they then sort of go through what repertoire that you have and kind of pick other things that you have. And, as you go through the audition process is maybe only 20 minutes long, and you go in there, you focus up, and you play the best that you can, and then probably a couple weeks later they let you know, and I was lucky enough to have gotten accepted. And so what happened is I basically entered Columbia as a full-time student, and what I would do is I would play chamber music and take lessons at Juilliard. So once a week I would take the 1 train down from Morningside Heights, go down to Lincoln Center, and I studied for several years with my wonderful teacher, who maybe is watching this show right now, Richard Aaron. Shout out to Richard Aaron. And he taught me some very valuable and wonderful things. And so that was my process. Wow, we have so many people in the chat. I gotta welcome everybody. Taylor Rhodes from Utah. Hello, Taylor. Olin. Hello, Olin. We have a question about vibrato. Wonderful. I will answer that very shortly. Venceslav. Hello. Aditya. Hello. Nure. Paulo. Autumn. Brian. Welcome to this wonderful chat this morning in Cello. Can I just get a little bit of love for this new camera setup that I just recently acquired? How dope does this look? Look at the bokeh. Look at the bokeh. It looks amazing, right? Can you imagine getting a Zoom lesson from me with this wonderful setup? A little plug for Zoom lessons if any of you are interested. Go to my website, nathanchan.com. Contact me. Anyways, let's answer our next question. Olin. Yes, Olin is asking, could you please share your approach to vibrato in slow motion and any advice on moving away from wrist and towards arm vibrato? Wonderful question. So basically, moving away from wrist vibrato. So a lot of times for folks that are a little bit, just learning vibrato, the vibrato kind of looks a little bit like this. And you kind of want to get rid of that and move it more into the forearm and the arm like this. So it's a much more larger muscle that's being used in order to achieve vibrato. And why is this important? If your vibrato is too isolated in the fingers, what often happens is you get this sort of tendency where as you are playing different notes on the fingers, your vibrato stops in between each finger, and that's because it's, isolated in there. So oftentimes what I ask folks to do is, I actually learned this from a wonderful teacher in this area. You kind of slide up and down. So you kind of want to get that motion in the arm first with bigger motions, then you make them smaller until you really are doing it in here. Another thing I like to think about is on this part of the cello right here, a very good motion to kind of feel is this tapping motion of the hand on this part of the cello. I guess this is called the upper bow. Correct me if I'm wrong. And basically, I kind of imagine hitting this in a rhythmic pattern like this. Any fans of the Swan? Very good for kind of maintaining that larger motion. So I would suggest, making sure that, first of all, you want to make sure you can vibrate in between fingers without stopping. Like so. And another thing to note is vibrato is made up of width and speed, right? You can have narrow, fast, narrow, slow, wide, fast, and wide, slow. And everything in between. So one thing my wonderful teacher Richard Aaron taught me is to put on a metronome at 60 beats per minute. I'll do that right now. And basically, to make sure you have control of all those two elements of the vibrato. So shout out to this wonderful app, Tunable, greatest tuning and metronome app out there. Sorry. Wonderful way to warm up the fingers. Wow, that even felt good for me this morning. These are the first notes I'm playing this morning. So good morning. I have some water. Hold on a second. Ladies and gentlemen, drink your daily recommended amount of water, okay?
Oh, Nathan, we also have some questions from Facebook, and that's in the Zoom chat. I just linked it. Yeah, great.
Let's see. Wonderful questions from Facebook. Okay, good. Keep letting me know about those as they're coming in. We have a question from Alonzo Lopez. Hello, Alonzo. What do you think of the study of extended techniques? I love the study of extended techniques. It's very important to constantly be a flexible musician and being able to approach new works with aplomb. And so, it's perhaps something you don't practice all the time, but when you are given the task of performing a piece with extended technique, extremely important to develop a methodology in which to approach them. Which of these do you know and would like to teach to show to the people? Probably the most important one that I've used the most, especially as we're playing more, some pop songs, things like that, is some pizzicato technique that I learned. I don't even know if this is extended technique anymore, but very important when you're pizzing cross strings. It's one fluid motion. Wonderful friend Ken Kubota, shout out to Ken. He's the OG master of pizzicato. I think I know. He taught me some wonderful things. Kind of like how a bass player would do it. And then even if you, for example, in the Elgar cello concerto, to have some very good pizzicato technique is important in that, you know what part I'm talking about. Well, anyways, lots of different pizzicato technique. For example, grabbing strings with 3 fingers, like that. Using your thumb to anchor yourself against the fingerboard, stuff like that. Okay, moving on. Kaya Phillips, how have you stayed motivated to practice during the pandemic? Very wonderful question, important question. To be honest, it's not been easy. There have been days where I've wanted to practice more, and there are days where I absolutely do not want to practice. But to be honest, one thing that has been really important for me is social media. Being able to feel a sense of community with others and feel that I can have a platform in which to share the music that I create has been extremely important in giving me motivation. When we're not performing necessarily for live audiences, we can instead perform for internet audiences, like I'm doing right now. Okay, that's a good question, Kaya. Casey Johnson, how many hours a day do you practice? I get this question a lot. it's very important to have goal-oriented practice. What do I mean by goal-oriented practice? That means it's not good to enter the practice room saying, I'm going to practice 40 hours. Shout out to my Ling-Lings out there. No, it's important to go into a practice room and ask yourself, what am I not doing well? And how am I not going to leave this room until that gets better? And that has been a big life changer for me. In fact, this probably manifested itself the most when I was in college, when I didn't have a lot of time to practice. And often I was practicing from, say, 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning, because sometimes that was the only time I could practice. And I was asking myself, what's the maximum amount of work I can get with the amount of time that I have? So I would encourage you, instead of thinking about practice in hours, think about in goal-oriented practice like this. Okay, I'm going to switch a little bit temporarily back to the YouTube questions, and then I'll get back to the Facebook questions. Wonderful to see all of you. Wow, we have people from Brazil, and someone's not a fan of Shasti 1. No good, no good. Brian Lee asks, what is your favorite Dvorak recording? Woo! Wow, that's a loaded question. I think the wonderful thing about recordings is that there are always people that are coming out with new recordings. And so I'm constantly inspired by the sort of new creative ideas that people are approaching with the Dvorak Cello Concerto. And, you know, I think right now one of the most fantastic Dvorak Cello Concertos right now is by Pablo Ferrandes. If you have not seen his Dvorak Cello Concerto on YouTube, it is insane. The intensity and the sound that he's getting on the cello, not only the sound, but the journey he takes you through that entire piece. He's wonderful. Hopefully he sees this. Big fan, Pablo. Let's see. Christine S is asking, can you talk about the proper way to scoop or dig into your string with your bow for depth of sound? Wonderful question. I actually talked a lot about this concept a lot with my students this past week, and I would like you to examine your scapula, which is sort of right here. It's kind of, I think someone told me it's like the angel wing, and right below here is a certain muscle, a big back muscle. And your sound greatly improves when you use that back muscle over just your arm. So I would encourage you to put your hand on this muscle right here, right below, and play some open strings. And if you do not feel that muscle moving, your sound is probably not good. Like right now, mine is not moving very well at all. Gee whiz, come on. Of all of you guys, give me a break. Okay, here we go. It's getting there. Basically, you want to feel that muscle open, kind of. It feels kind of like it's breathing a little bit when you're using it correctly. Try that out, Christine. And I think that will improve your sound greatly. Okay. Autumn Rinaldi asks, how do you keep a piece fresh over long periods of time? Like if a performance is months away and you have your piece at a performance... okay. This is a very wonderful question. To me, you know, first of all, I'd like to applaud you for having performance level months before your actual performance. That means you're preparing extremely well, Autumn, and I think that's a wonderful job. However, there's always more that can be improved. Performance level is an interesting concept. Have you done some score study with the piece of work? Have you played it many, many times with a pianist? I know, very hard to do nowadays. Have you played along with some recordings so you really understand some of the cues and things that are going to be necessary for when you are performing it later on in months? Have you tried changing the entire tempo of the piece where you can play extremely slow, and also, if you're willing, play slightly faster than you're used to, so you really have a concept of where you lie in terms of the timing of the piece. That's very important. Have you played the entire piece with a drone to make sure your pitch center is really good? These are sort of things that I revisit constantly, months before and leading up to a performance. And unfortunately now, I feel I have less and less time to prepare for a piece. So enjoy the fact that you have a piece so comfortable under your hands. What a wonderful feeling. That is my answer to your question. Okay, I'm going to return to the Facebook questions for a second. Daniel and says, Nathan, we love you, brother. You are the best cellist ever. How do you get your beautiful sound? Oh, thank you, Daniel. I have to credit a lot of my sound development to the wonderful cellist Gauthier Capuçon, who probably we solely worked on sound development the most during my time in Paris at the Fondation Louis Vuitton. He was always very nitpicky about my sound, and one thing that I can share with you, advice that helped me greatly, is his intensity on the start and ends of notes. There is a way that Gauthier activates and catches the sound with each note that is astonishing, and I think he's one of the best at doing so. And finding that connection with the string before one even moves the arm is extremely important to having a very clear and wonderful sound when you first start, and being very hyper aware of the way in which you then activate that sound after preparing it was extremely important. And one of the important things that he taught me was the importance of the flexibility of the right hand and the depth in which you need to sink into the string in order to achieve great sound. How many of you are fans of the Dvorak Cello Concerto? Wonderful. I don't know if that answered your question. Okay, wow. The questions are coming in like crazy. I love it. Marie-Hélène. Alkaya, do I get nervous before performing? Of course I do. I'm nervous for you right now. I should have eaten a banana. My one tip is to eat bananas before you perform. It settles the stomach and it has some built-in potassium that makes you less nervous. Also, and keep this on the DL, go to the bathroom before you perform. Very important. You don't want to be second-guessing your digestive system while you're performing. Okay, Aaron says, have you ever tried the Yampolsky scales? Yes, one of the most amazing left-hand exercises is the Yampolsky. It's a whole book, and every single key has its own dedicated section, and it's extremely important for organizing the left hand. I love the Yampolsky scale system. Daniel Wilson, may you explain your practice and technique with long bows. Okay, long bows. there's two philosophies. You can change your bow over a string or under a string. What do I mean by this? As you get to a, for example, down bow to up bow, notice that the string is a circular shape. My arm represents the string. As you are changing bows, we often think too much in horizontal motions. But to smooth out changes, what happens if you slightly rounded the string? Like so. Have you ever seen those slow motion videos of a string wobbling and watching it change directions? Like ga 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 ga, and then it goes wah wah wah. You need to help the string achieve that by this concept, or you can help the string achieve that by this concept. So if you come over, see how that's so beautifully smooth? I've been thinking about that a lot. Approach those bow changes with a little bit of this direction as if you're coaxing the string to move a different way. So likewise, when you're on a C string, for example, and you're going, you can come from under. I'm not doing it very well. Ah, that was a good one. Up bow to down bow, I would highly recommend utilizing your index finger to make that change as beautiful as possible. That's a quick tip. I'm sure we will talk about it more. Hello, what is hanging on your cello case? Those look like little balls on a string. Okay, well, I love that we're talking about this. These are my little pom-poms. They help me. I've had them since I was a little kid. They used to be luggage tags, actually, but I used them as sort of self-identifiers on my cello case. You know, I used to have a band case, and, you know, lots of people have band cases, and it was hard to, sometimes in like youth orchestra or now orchestra, it's a little bit of personality, shall we say, on the cello. So hopefully that answers your question, Robert. Yoonjung Nam, what exercises would you recommend for intermediate level young cellist who struggles with stiff bow hand? Oh, very interesting. I would recommend putting the pinky on top of the bow and doing a little bit of this. Basically, you're doing pinky push-ups with the cello, with the bow, to really feel the weight distribution of the bow. So do some pinky push-ups. Often, you know, it's very hard to do this. And if you do it at different points in the bow, well, not sure if you need it as much here, but you can really feel the weight of the bow very interestingly when you put your pinky on here, and that will sort of help develop some a sensitivity to the right hand. Okay, good. Back to YouTube. Wow, there's so many comments, and I'd like to thank you all for joining. I'm gonna reset the room a little bit if you're just joining us. My name is Nathan Chan, and I'm the assistant principal cellist of the Seattle Symphony, and I want to welcome you to a Super Bowl Sunday edition of Cello Bellow. And we are talking all things cello, philosophy, technique, beauty, not even cello, performance tips, things like that. And hope you are all doing well. Where are you watching this stream from? Let me know in the comments below. Would love to see. I see we have some wonderful people from all around the world. We had some people from Greece joining us earlier in the stream. Okay. Okay, so hard to keep track of all these questions. I'm trying to go as fast as I can. Aria asked, hey Nathan, any advice on keeping pressure on the string when reaching the end of the bow? Specifically, not locking the thumb, but letting it rotate throughout. Very interesting. My relationship with the thumb on the bow is perhaps not the best, but one of the best pieces of advice I got from a YouTube video from Pablo Ferrandez was to change the location of my thumb. I used to hold the bow here with my thumb. Now I hold it right here. right here. Can you see that? Look at this beautiful camera. Oh my gosh. You guys are so lucky. This is the first time I'm using this camera for such a beautiful screen. And that has changed my sound dramatically from here to here, okay? At the tip, very important to rotate outward as you reach the tip. So my advice, start your bow like this, and a down bow feels like this, and an up bow feels like this. Do it with me. Down bow, up bow. I hope you have your cello with you. So how does that translate to playing? So as I'm getting to the tip, I'm thinking about rotating my arm outward, or inward, I guess, like this. And if you're doing it correctly, when your bow is at the tip, it should feel quite short. See how I feel like I have a lot of room left in my arm because it's a little bit of pronation like this. Talking too much. Okay, that's my tip for the getting to the tip. Wow, okay, I gotta go faster. Oh my gosh. Oh, yay, I see people from Kentucky, Turkey, Ohio, Wales, and Philadelphia. Welcome to this Super Bowl edition of Cello Bellow. Adi asked, so I haven't played in a while. What with the pandemic and my studies and all, and just started my lessons again, do you have any tips for getting back into shape again? You must do exercises and scales every day before you perform. And do it with a drone. Here is my handy dandy drone. Shout out to Tunable, greatest tuning app on the App Store. I'm gonna play a scale for you. Should take these AirPods out. My shoulders are quite tight right now. And so one piece of advice I can give you that was taught to me by my great friend, Ken Kubota, is to make sure, if you want to test if you have any tension while you're playing, is to make this sound. And if your breath stops like this, that means you're not doing very well. So, string crossing. Great way to test tension. Oh, okay. Can you talk? Oh my goodness. What was your mentality while in conservatory? What gave you motivation and were you nervous? Uh, Conservatory taught me that you get out what you put in. Let me say that once more. You get out what you put in. If you don't put in a lot, you're not going to get a lot out in conservatory. It's up to you to put in the hard work and the dedication in order to achieve the results that you desire. No one hands you things on a plate, especially in conservatory. I'm just going to leave it at that, okay? Work hard, people. Have I ever dealt with injuries? Yes. One time I got a pinched median nerve in my left hand, and it was for a stupid reason. I was holding my iPad Pro like this for an extended period of time, and then when I put it down, you know that feeling when like your leg falls asleep or something? That happened, but it happened in my entire hand, and it happened for about a month. It was like all tingly and numb like that. It sucked. I went to go see a chiropractor, things like that, and it taught me that you have to be much more, you have to appreciate your body much more and respect it when it's telling you things that that it's, you know, it's hurting and things like that. We don't talk about this often enough. We play through the pain too much. Now when I sense anything, it's important to take a break and to listen to your body because it's trying to tell you something. And so be careful with your body, okay? Yes. Wow, I gotta go way faster. Can you talk about interpretation through experimentation with colors and bow breathing? Yes. Bow breathing, interesting. I like to think of it more in the words of Pamela Frank, the wonderful violinist. In music, you're always going towards something or falling away from something, okay? So you need basically direction, and it's important to be able to manifest direction in any type of bowing. So another great way of practicing this, and this idea I see my good friend Zlatomir Fung do all the time. Crescendo on a down bow, decrescendo on an up bow. It's a wonderful way of making sure you're not falling into the habit of, you know, because we always have more level of comfort and power at the frog. We like to crescendo to the frog. I would recommend that. And once you understand that, then you have much better control of the types of colors that you want to have in your thing. Okay, I want to make sure that my friends and things are seeing this on Facebook. I'm going to share this cello bellow thing to my Facebook page. So make sure everybody can see what is going on in the world. Ooh, look, there's me. Wow, this is trippy. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share this right now. Tune in now. And there we go. Okay. Wonderful. Now I'm going to switch back over to the Facebook. Oh, Seth Parker Woods. Hello. How are you, Seth? Seth is a dear friend who's come to Seattle many times to perform with us in the Seattle Symphony. So good to see you. Hyung-Ki Park. Hello, Hyung-Ki. How hard do you press down on strings with your left hand? So I was taught a very interesting concept on this by my wonderful first teacher, Irene Sharp. Shout out to Irene from the Bay Area. If you've ever gone bouldering, you'll know that you have much more strength in your hands than you realize if you use the right technique. And this technique is called the cling. Basically, you want to approach the string slightly from the right and kind of cling it to the left. That way, the left hand is not a pressing motion, as Hyung-ki is saying. I would be very careful with the word press. It's a little bit dangerous. If you think about this motion and you're doing it correctly, if you test it out with your right hand, it's quite difficult to pull your finger off if you have this kind of type of strength. Okay, so try approaching it from the right and clinging it to the left. Don't press, don't press, don't press. Andrea Schultz says, how do you ensure consistent vibrato among all fingers of the left hand? You might have missed this a little bit earlier, Andrea, but important to move the muscle being used into the forearm. Maybe I would recommend rewinding a little bit. It was one of the first questions so many questions I want to make sure I get to everybody. Genevieve Tabby! Oh, my dear friend and colleague Genevieve is watching from Chicago. I love Chicago. Hi, Genevieve. It's been too long. I hope you're doing well. So good to see you here on this Super Bowl Sunday edition of Cello Bellow. Diane Tuttle Tremaine. Hello, good morning, Nathan, from the Snoqualmie Valley over here in Washington. Hello. I wonder if it's cold over there. Snoqualmie, wonderful. A little bit east of Seattle. Okay. Carlos, talk about your spiccato stroke on Mozart 35 or Mendelssohn Midsummer. That's my spiccato. I think about a little bit of like a little rotation in the wrist like this. Ooh, that sounds good, huh? Yes. Very important to find the best part of your bow that bounces. And then it's almost like I'm going like this with my hand. Hello. Hello. I use this also in Elgar. Ooh, that doesn't sound as good. I think it's time for some rosin. Everybody, very important to recognize the point in time where you feel you need more rosin. Sometimes I feel, some of my students, hello Carson, I hope you're watching this. Shout out to Carson Ling Eford, my wonderful student. You should all go follow her on Instagram. Carson Ling Eford is my wonderful student. I feel like, Carson, sometimes you don't recognize when your bow needs rosin. So very important to know when that is. Okie dokie. Byron, hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, we have so many people coming and joining us from all around the world. Hello from Hong Kong. Hello, Neho. Switzerland. Hi from Bulgaria. Hello from California. Shout out to the Bay. London. Hong Kong. Hello. This could be you. Okie dokie. Hello from Italy. Hi from Hamburg, Germany. Thank you. Karen asks, why does my cello move when I play vibrato? Is it my end pin or my technique? Wow. Karen, that is very fascinating. I would love to see it happening. I wonder if you are grasping the cello or stabilizing it enough with your legs Feel free to send me a DM of a video of you doing this. I could maybe address it more specifically if I see it. You should all follow me on Instagram, by the way, at Nathan Chan Cello. And feel free to ask me additional questions there if I accidentally don't ask your question here on the chat. Yes, so perhaps your legs, are you hugging your legs? I know some people, I was first taught to hold the cello like so, where it was kind of twisted. Maybe it's time, as you get a little bigger, it's probably best to start transitioning to stabilizing the cello this way. And yeah, I'm sorry, Karen, that's happening. That's very strange. Please send me a video of you vibrating. Maybe that would help. Wendy Law is in the chat. Hello, Wendy. Wonderful, wonderful cellist. You should all go follow her at Wendy Law. I think it's Wendy Law Cello. I want to make sure. This is important to shout out. Oh, okay, here we go. It is Cellist Wendy Law. Go follow Wendy. She's wonderful. She creates wonderful content about the cello. And she's asking, how many cellos do I have? Oh, wow. Well, actually, this is my girlfriend Christine Lee's cello. So technically not my cello. But I have a wonderful Yamaha silent electric cello right there. And then I have my bass next to it. And so this is Cello Bellow, and welcome to my wonderful room of the cello. Shout out to any of you who recognize this, I guess, sketch painting. I don't know if you can see it. I will award 100 imaginary points to you if you can recognize this sketch. Okay, Olin asks, could you please talk about your bows and demonstrate a few things you might play if you were trying out a new bow to see how it responds? Very good question. Bows are beautiful things. One thing I like to really make sure, or I like to feel out in a bow that I try, is how well does it travel? How does it move across the string? Very lucky and privileged to be able to play on an 1850 Joseph Henri bow that was actually owned by Janos Starker. It's simply one of it is the greatest bow I've ever played on, and it's I feel very lucky to be able to play on this bow. But a couple of things I noticed is, so the way it travels, do you feel any resistance at the bow? How does it travel at different locations in the bow? By the frog in the middle and at the tip. Of course, testing out the bounce. A little bit of your Mendelssohn. Testing out if it bounces easily. Making sure that feels good. Trying both loud and soft things. Good to play this opening. smoothness, trying the bow out on different strings, A, D, G, C. What else? Those are kind of the things I'm thinking of right now. If I think of more, I will let you know. Yes, feeling how the bow travels is a very interesting concept. And of course, the sound. And sometimes it's hard to hear under the ear, but getting a friend or a colleague to listen to the bow from further away is very important. And having power. Oh, power is important in a bow. Have you ever played on a really weak bow that doesn't give you power? Not a very fun feeling. That's what I would say to you, Olin. Okay, I'm going to transition back to the Facebook chat. Oh, Theo Jacobson is on the chat. Hello, Theo, my dear childhood friend from the wonderful town of Hillsborough. Theo, it's been too long. Josue Diaz says, hello from Mexico. Hi. Do you have any recommendations on how to study just and Pythagorean intonation? Tips for personal practice? Well, I have to refer to you to the greatest book on intonation I've ever read, which is the Cello Mind book by Hans Jürgen Jensen. Let me know in the chat if you own a copy of Cello Mind. It totally changed my life. Probably a deeper understanding of the harmonic series. And knowing the actual sense in which things are flat naturally in the harmonic series for example, the opening of Bach Prelude. If you wanted to do, if you were just to play, this is how I would play it before I had a cello mind. Boo! But now I slightly make the B flatter. And now I've entered into the world of a cello mind. carried away there. What were we talking about again? I forgot. Oh, yes. Just an Pythagorean intonation. I would say get the Cello Mind book. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. Christian, hello. What do you advise me to study and successfully achieve groups of eighths, 3 slurs, and a separate one, as in Grieg Sonata first movement? Oh, okay. Let me remind myself the opening of the Grieg Sonata first movement. I'm going to go on to Primephonic. Shout out to Primephonic, wonderful streaming music app for classical music. Let me see if I can, more specifically help you. Grieg Sonata, first movement. I want to make sure. Let's see. Okay, I'm about to play. I hope this is not copyrighted, but I'll do it very softly so I can hear it. Let's see. It's about to play. Oh, good. I'm examining. Oh. I've actually never played the Grieg Cello Sonata. It's beautiful. I think I hope that's what you're meaning. Is it like that? Is that what you're talking about? Christian, achieve a group of 8 3s. Okay, maybe it's like a good example of this is okay, I'm not gonna try and play that right now. Think of U's. I would say, okay, let me organize my thoughts. I would say on the first 2 notes with the slur, I would think of a little U. And then the shorter note is a little retake. If you have the depth and the roundness in the first 2 slurs, then that might help you with the articulation. I would practice a scale with this slurred and thing. It's important to return on that up bow to the general location in which you started. I would do that maybe. Sorry, I feel like I didn't answer that very well, but think of a little U on that first down bow. Sue asked, how did you, okay, well, playing cello is such a joy. I think sometimes we all forget that. What a beautiful instrument, and what an amazing sounding thing that, somebody invented, those hundreds of years ago after the viola da gamba, right? The roundness, the fullness of the sound. I think it's important to not even remind, but just realize what a beautiful instrument the cello is. Am I right, chat? Let me know. Cello is a frickin' beautiful sounding instrument, huh? Anyways. Good. Now, let's talk about, Abby. Hello, Abby. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, wonderful. Lots of people watching. I'm gonna get that Cello Mind book. It's wonderful. Do you recommend the book Cello Mind for beginner cellists or only for more experienced ones? That's a very good question. The concepts in the book are quite complex, but I would say instead of thinking about whether it's for beginner or more experienced cellists, I would think about if you have a tendency to be more analytical, or you are more, Well, if you have an analytical mind that enjoys the science and physics of music, I would highly recommend the Cello Mind book. Okay, hold on a second. My friend Ken Kubota is texting me. Hold on. And wonderful. Any other questions? I feel like we had a wonderful hour of chatting. I hope you all are enjoying this Sunday. Wow, we have some wonderful people from UK. Do you have any tips on how to make vibrato more varied? We talked a little bit about this in the beginning of the chat. Irene, 2 aspects, speed and width of vibrato. Practicing those two and having control of them independently is very important. Brian Lee says, nah, I will go for viola. Very funny, Brian. Jane says, thank you for all your fabulous energy and great answers to everyone's questions. Fantastic amount of technical issues being addressed today. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, I think I might just wrap it up here because it looks like some of the chat is dying down. I want to say thank you all so very much for joining me this Super Bowl edition Sunday of Cello Bellow. Are you watching the Super Bowl later today? I probably will, but in the safety of my own home. Coronavirus, it's still a thing. Please, everyone, stay safe. Wear a mask and get the vaccine. I don't want to see any cellists that are non-maskers out there, okay? All right. If there is no other questions, thank you all so much for joining us. Please check out my website at nathanchan.com and follow me on Instagram at nathanchancello, TikTok, and also if you're on Clubhouse. I love having discussions like these. Would love to see more of you cellists on Clubhouse. Follow me at nathanchancello, and I think I will say thank you and have a great rest of your Sunday. Okie dokie, bye-bye. Thank you.